Okay. I'm going to. What if I don't want to learn more? Can I expand this? No. Well, anyways. Timestamps. Sure. Alright. I've already started these guys. So I got the skin and the glowy bits and working on the cloth. Cloth is mostly done. I want to clean up some of the blending because it's kind of some sharp transitions that I don't really care for. Primary color I'm using here is Pro Acryl Dark Plum. It's from Ninjan's color range. I want this to be pretty watered down. It's more like a glaze. Just trying to dull some of the hard transitions that we got going on. This is also my first stream, so I'm probably going to pull things out of frame pretty frequently because I got to push it a little bit farther forward than I would typically find comfortable. I suppose I can scooch up too. This transition isn't horrible. For tabletop, it's absolutely fine. Probably need to move the mic closer to myself, so I'm a little bit. Excuse the sudden burst of sound. Actually. Okay, now the mic's facing me a little bit more, so it should be easier, and hopefully I won't knock it too bad. Actually, one second. There we go, now I shouldn't knock it at all. Doing some light glazing, that's probably a little more than I wanted. Take off a little bit on the edge. The rest of that's probably fine. What about back here? Yeah, it could be smoother. A bit more water. probably looks like I'm doing basically nothing, and it's because technically I am. But it makes the transition ever so slightly smoother. Darken right around the nub. This one, if anything, I actually probably want more of the brighter color here. Very little of the brighter color. Not enough. You know, I used to think I preferred satin paints, but the more I'm using them now, I'm getting more into like doing fine detail work. The slight reflection that they do is really kind of annoying. I kind of wish these paints were a little bit more matte. And I mean, these lights I'm using are already kind of diffused. I suppose I could diffuse them more or lower the intensity. Does that help? I don't know. Camera brightens it back up pretty good, so you can still see it. And it's still kind of shiny. Still kind of annoying. That's okay. Back to a little bit of the darker base purple or plum. Fade that a little bit. Yeah, no, I think that's okay. Especially tabletop, like 100%. And I'm not going for like display painting on these. Frankly, I don't think I'm good enough for display painting, but I definitely do a very strong tabletop game. And by strong, I mean probably what I would call tabletop plus. Looks good on tabletop and holds under scrutiny if you hold it up a little bit closer as well. So where am I going from here? I do kind of a muddy green armor. So I think I'm going to do that next. Got my brown, which is Vallejo Game Air charred brown. And we got some P3 Ordic Olive. This is the old P3, not the new P3. That is, I did the Kickstarter and got the full thing, and I still haven't even gotten the email. I have a friend who got his email asking for confirmation of his address. I've yet to receive that, but that's okay. Well, it's almost not okay. The primary color I use for my green glow, I'm starting to run out of. It's Necrotite Green, which is also P3. And I actually probably don't need this much of it, but come on, drop. Come off the top. Okay, we got some liquid physics going on here. Break the bubble, thank you. Bloop. These over here. Clean this off. And I'm just going to go start with the brown here. It's kind of as a base. You really shouldn't be using this brush, but it's okay. The crevices where it's going to be darker. And actually, we're just going to go over the whole thing. Start brightening it up a little bit from the black base. Do I want to do brown in here? Yeah. Color's going in here, so might as well get brown in the nubbins. Most of this is going to be pretty bright colored. Down here, some brown. And those are going to be metal. Those are going to be metal. Over here. Don't need to put too much brown on this area because it will be quite bright. And here you can see some of the, actually, how well can you see it? You can kind of tell there's pock marks and everything, and the detail's not great in there. Which is a shame, but you know what? It's on the bottom side, bottom and the back. You're not really going to see it. So it's disappointing that it's not that clean, but you know, after I recently got some Lord of the Rings miniatures, and some of them were GW's resin, and you know, they got supports going straight into like the detail, and the resin's super soft, and it's just, I'm really actually not impressed. This one, this whole, a lot more of this side's going to be brown. Because it's not showing to the sky. But we do have the green glow from the vents to be aware of. Up here, it's basically only going to be in there. And all that's going to be metal. Yeah, this up here will be colored. Am I coloring any of this? I don't think so. Like a saw blade, I think I just do metals for that. Largely because I'm lazy, because I do less work on the metals. I do true metallic metals, and frankly, I'm kind of lazy about it. One of the places I should probably try to improve. And I kind of know ways to improve. I'm just lazy. You know, especially, these models are really cool, but they're cannon fodder. They're 6 points. They don't do much. They don't survive very long. Their purpose is really to gum things up and then to die. So, like, how much effort do you really want to put into painting something like this? This guy had that shoulder. Did I get the underside? I didn't. I suppose it being black wouldn't be the end of the world, but that's okay. This is also mostly metal. Dark undersides. Oh, I forgot to do some glowy bits back here, but you know what? That's fine. They're small. they're behind, that's probably why I missed them. Didn't do it on these bits over here either. Should I really go back and do that? Like I could. Is it really necessary? I suppose it would make the piece a little bit more consistent since all the other ones on these other arms, like over here, I did those ones. Why wouldn't I do the other ones, you know? Do I want to do green elsewhere? Yeah, screw it. We'll do it along here too. Say green while I'm painting brown. It'll end up being mostly green. The rest of that will be metal, I guess. Is that supposed to be arm? Should it be flesh colored? Nope, we're just gonna make it metal. Nobody's gonna know. Again, cheap throwaway unit. Okay. So now I'm actually going to mix some of this brown with some of this green here. I don't need to mix too much of it. And sadly, this brush picked up basically all of it. That's okay, I can keep using it. Do go ahead and paint. It's dry now. Just come back in. Touching up these other places down here. Brown really serves as just the shadow of the shadow. I done fucked up. Erase, erase. I'm gonna dry brush to suck this out. There we go. Risk is averted. Of course, now I gotta remix colors. Whispering a little bit too softly here. Was I gonna actually do the greens in here? Somebody want to make the decision for me? I don't know if I actually want to. Like, even painting this, anything beyond brown is really kind of being nitpicky. Another layer over here. Painting off camera. My apologies. You can hardly even tell there's any difference in color here. Forward. mixing a little bit more. A little bit more green on that. Probably should try to set up so that you can see the palette, but like I can zoom the camera out, but then you can't see the miniature as well, so it's kind of like maybe I should have 2 cameras. Is that really? Oh, that's right, I'm doing color on this too. Well, you know, I guess I'll skip the brown for down in there. That's fine. Again, it's dark, nobody's gonna notice. This shit on the table, you're never gonna notice. I wonder if I could. No. I really just need to sit up closer. Trying to get pretty much as close to the edge without actually getting it in that nook. And then after this, we're going to get pretty significantly brighter pretty quick. Whole top of this. Nope, painting off camera again. And make sure you can't see the top of my head, too. Probably just leave this brown, but that's okay. We will add color. Build up the layers and all. It's a little bright, that's okay. and easy. Part of the reason that I do these multiple layers that seem almost imperceptibly different is because I need to do multiple layers anyways. You know, each one of these colors is pretty translucent and they don't cover great. So we gotta slowly creep up anyways, might as well. And you kind of end up getting a better gradient from coming up from the black, from the primer, doing it this way. But if I'm being honest, I really wish I'd just cover it better. I'm hoping with the new P3 paints that will be the case. It will just kind of work. Let me see if I can adjust my camera ever so slightly. Nope, the other way. So, yeah, that should be better. And, oh, I gotta move my head way in there to get that. Okay. Way up there, Morty. So now I'm just taking the straight Ordic Olive. And slopping it on. Which it looks really, really bright. Yeah, it's gonna darken pretty good as it dries. And we can start to do this tricky bits. And then along here. You don't have to do so much down here. Tricky bits on this side, but really the only reason I need to come in here with these colors anyways is just because these glowy vents. Painting the butt. I could in theory just not paint them. You know, like who cares, you know, you're facing it this way against the player. Unless you play haphazardly and you just, you know, care where they face, since there's no more facing. Which I'm glad they got rid of. Facing in Warmachine was super tedious. I want to play the game, not do vector math. Oh, I'm still painting off screen. Jesus. Be very, very careful. We're painting trim. Screwing up my brush. Screwing up. Okay. Definitely gonna have to do multiple layers of this. glob it on kind of like this. Which sort of works, but it's kind of dangerous in terms of making sure you get smooth transitions and the like. But again, cheap cannon fodder unit, why do I care? And this side needs, frankly, thinner. More along here, and that's basically all that's going to get. And we can come up here. Got this pretty well covered. There's going to be even brighter colors going over that. This side needs to be worked on a little bit more. Sorry, I'm trying to get in these small details. I can't help but to pull this thing in my chest and make it impossible for you to see. One. Probably should be using a handle of some sort, but I just kind of forget often. I just don't. Here, tricky bit. Don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. It's pretty okay. How much more can I turn this camera? I'll just keep pulling closer and closer to my chest, probably. I paint like a shrimp. But my first stream, I will get better at this. I swear to. Clean off this brush. That paint's getting pretty far up those bristles. There's one way to ruin a brush. Is to get paint all the way up to where the bristles connect. basically all he's gonna get, I think. Do this back here. Be real pedantic there. See, that's one of those details. You really don't need to paint that. Actually, I need to refresh that so that is the new position for my camera, because I can save positions. Do I really? Just a little bit down there. Splash color. Be about as bright as this ever gets. For here, on the other hand, a little bit brighter. A little bit down here. One thing I'm not ever going to account for is the brush being in the camera. While I would love for it to always look like you can see everything, I'm not going to spend the time to figure that out. You're just going to have to deal with the brush and the camera. Swing back this way a little bit. You know, it's really hard to find just random things to talk about while painting. That's about painting. Well, so you're being like asked specific questions. Because this takes forever. I'm not, as you can see, I'm not a terribly fast painter. Maybe I'm being too anal about how like perfect everything looks, but clean it up later, as they say. Maybe I don't want to clean it up later. Way too much. paint this down here. Gross brown black. That's fine. Alright. Now what do I do? Same color again. It's over a slightly smaller area. Dog's fur on the brush. This is only going on the most raised parts. Get that really Ordic olive color going. Probably one of my favorite colors, to be honest. I've used it so much. It's kind of a brownish yellow green. Would that be a warm green? I tend to paint, I guess green is probably the color I predominantly paint. I was painting Mark III. I predominantly was playing Circle. Really liked Tharn. Uses a lot of these same, you know, browns, greens, that kind of thing. And I had tested a few different colors for a paint scheme for these guys. And I'm trying to do like the traditional scheme, or, you know, the black, you know, the purple being the primary armor color, and it just, I couldn't get it looking how I wanted to. So I kind of gave up and went with the tried and true green. It's just a, you know, I wanted it to be gross and muddy, and brown and green are muddy colors, you know? A little bit too much in the glowy spot there for my liking. Wash that out. I think that neon paint I use reactivates with water. And I've actually just pulled it out, but it's okay. That's fine. Alright, next we got P3 Warm Green. Typically I would just take, or originally I should say, typically now I'm just using this. Originally I was taking the Ordic Olive and mixing it with a pale yellow. I was using this Tainted Snow from Cuttlefish. But then I realized it's basically just this color. So now I just use it, just this color. Give it a good shake. I do have a vortex mixer, but and this is a cheap like Walmart folding table, and it causes the entire table to vibrate aggressively, and it just makes a bunch of noise, and it makes me uncomfortable. So I don't. We're just gonna layer this on up and get really not much on a brush here. Just very lightly highlight up. Except in here, this just becomes this color. You can see just because how opaque, not opaque, the opposite of that, how translucent this paint is, and it's just kind of naturally thin, that it kind of glazes up pretty good. Use a couple layers of it and get nice highlights. This is vertical enough. This can get some of this. Right, if this like that, all this down along here. Maybe leave a little bit of shadow from the nubbin. The 6 billion rivets these guys have. Catch the top of this. Suppose to catch the top of this rivet over here too. Okay. We got the top of this over here. I'll probably paint more of this than I need to, just because it's the front. I want people to like really see it. Oh, now I'm too far forward. Now you can't see this at all. I need to learn where to place it. Yeah, this is probably facing well enough. Just get a little bit in there. Kind of bleed it over. And if you really look up close, it's like that looks kind of sloppy, but you pull it away, you just get just a hint of the color. Looks pretty okay. Definitely need more on the bottom side here. My wife's coming down to bother me, so I gotta mute for a moment. Okay, it's clear. Where do you want, Kiki? You got 30 minutes before I take you out, girl. Relax. Got to blend probably some of the Ordic back in over some of these bits, but you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just placing it on the table to see how it looks actually placed down, if the light makes sense, which it largely does. Highlight this up a little bit more. There's one more color that I put on. It's like the spot highlight. Once again, painting off camera. I've been completely missing down in here. I think that's good enough. The black will serve as the shade there. are you grunting for, Kiki? You act like you pay rent. I'm going the wrong way. Pull that back a little bit. No, I tried already. I'll still thin it out, at the very least. Jesus. So sorry about all the time spent not in focus. I like the shoulder pad up again. Alright. Do I want to bring back any more of the Ordic? I can probably do a light glaze in a few places to kind of pull it together a little bit better. And the point of this is just to smooth out some of the transitions, similar to what I was doing with the purple before. But honestly, half the time it makes the transition pretty bad again. But sometimes it works out really good. So I just do it, and eventually I'll figure out how to do it better. This over here needs way more of the bright color. It still looks fugly. And blend some of this, some of the Ordic back around it. Probably too much. Pull that back. It should hopefully dry with a good gradient. You can put like a X marks the spot of like here. I'm some neon fucking orange. It's such a fun bright color. Oh my god. Where like right, yeah, right about here. Paint over this bright fucking thing. Actually, that might even be a little bit low. There we go. Oh, keep it over the X. X marks the spot. Okay. Well, that came out pretty good. I'm pretty okay. Pretty happy with that. Let's see, what time is it? We got 20 minutes or so before I have to take the dog out. Well, keep going then. What is next? Probably the brown for straps, because those are all pretty down and underneath. And it shouldn't take that long relative to doing the silver color, the metals. Metals will take forever. Metals, I do far less blending, but there's, you know, washes and things. So this is P3 Guncorp Brown. Just my generic brown strap color. It's kind of a brown. Yet another transparent color that requires a few layers. Over the X. thing I don't like is I think these straps are supposed to be the same as this. It kind of goes into it, but I don't like that. I don't want the straps to be all the same color. I think in my first unit I did paint them that way. And I've since decided, nah, even if they're supposed to be that way, I'm not painting them that way. Over the X. Luckily these straps, I pretty much just apply this color and then Agrax Earthshade, a wash right over them. And the Earthshade, at least the newer Earthshade, really darkens, and pretty much one heavy application gets it to where I want it to be. We're over the X, we're good. Probably should be some flesh color in there, but we're just gonna, it's all gonna be just brown. We're gonna pretend there's another strap in there. You can see, well, maybe you can't see, I don't know how well it's going to show up, but it gets kind of blotchy. So I typically got to do 2 coats. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but that's okay. You're just going to have to trust me. Again, it's one of those things like, grand scheme, probably not something I should really be worrying about. Waste a lot of time and effort trying to make it clean. And on the table, you're never gonna see it. But at the same time, when it is really clean, when other people go and pick up your model, they're like, that's clean. And they notice it. You don't even need to have well painted. If the colors are clean, there's no obvious like straying outside the lines. Some people think it's amazing, even if it's truly just kind of mediocre. So these leg straps don't need that much more. Another layer, another layer. Don't really need to go on the underside. I kind of want to get the top side though. Excuse me while I be a little retentive about painting the top side of the straps to not be skin colored. And now the waist straps are dry enough to put another layer on. a 5. Except I've got 6 units of this. I've already painted 2. This is the 3rd unit. So after these guys I will be halfway done. Oh boy. For, once again, a throwaway unit. But the idea of playing an Oops All Zombies game tickles me in a way. I've got a friend who really likes zombies, and I think he would enjoy blowing up a whole bunch of zombies. Nope, painting off camera again. I looked at the X and was like, oh shit. You know, I probably should have checked for audio to see if, you can actually hear me. The microphone that I have tends to be pretty good. Once again, I can't paint over an X. Going outside the lines. Painting lines I don't need to paint. That's a mistake I'm gonna leave. It is so minor. I do need to re-wet my brush. I love when water that's way up in the bristles suddenly works its way down. Suddenly your paint is way too thin. Some people are like, well, you want thin paint. I don't want thin paint. I would much rather not have thin paint. Oh, my hair's getting on in there. That's probably good enough. 8 minutes. I'm not getting through all these in time. My dog will have to wait. My dog hates waiting. She's not what you would call a patient dog. She's a take life by the throat kind of dog. Another one where the strap kind of blends into the purple. I'm just like, no, I want those to be different. Like, they try to make it easier on you, and it's just like, no, you just kind of, you make it a little bit weird. You done gone made it weird. Actually, even have primer down up in here. It's okay. Frankly, this primer has been a pain in my butt. The just Army Painter rattle can primer, and for whatever reason, a lot of the paints, if they're too watery, really just beat up on it, and it doesn't hold the paint. It tries to get rid of the paint, so you gotta like glob it on, or pull it like fresh from the pot, kind of thing. I'm gonna try and move on to the next one for now. Try to hurry up and be done by 11. Over the X. Oh, dropped my brush. Oh, you got a nose shot. You know what my nose looks like. How will I ever recover? Here you can kind of see, it's not spreading too bad, but Brown, 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 brown. I gotta do one more in 1 minute. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's not happening. Is that the one I just did? I don't remember. I'm just checking if I need to freshen any of these up. They should be good. Okay. Well, in about an hour and a half, I cleaned up the purples a little bit. I did all the greens. I got the base of the belts done, which isn't that bad. For me, I never claim to be a fast painter. But I can claim to be a pretty decent painter. I don't think I'm like Golden Demon good. Not anywhere close, but I also don't want to spend, 120 hours on a single miniature. Yo, I don't know if you can hear it. My stomach is making so much noise. I wonder if we got bit by the avian flu being in the eggs. Because we're not properly testing for that anymore. Alright. Well, this is what we got right now. Next up is silver's bronze. Whatever I'm doing for all the tubes. Then I want to wash the straps, the bronze and the silver, then highlight, and then they're done. But that makes it sound nice and easy, but it's not. Oh, and I never did the actual final highlight on the greens. I need to use this sucker, Skarsnik green. But another time.